And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's the Heritage Quarter Business Alliance Power Hour. We tried this earlier. We brought down the internet, not only in our office, but at the Village Hall or Village Hall as well. So we're going to take two on this, and welcome back. My name is Dan Mulka. I am the HCBA Executive Director. Glad to have you here for the Power Hour. We're going to be talking Social Media 102. This is the second of our social media series. Go back and check out the Social Media 101 if you're looking for a really beginner kind of first step in learning all terms and different things of that nature. This one's going to be a little bit different. We are going to talk a little bit today about content. Content is king. So we want to make sure that everything is going great. Double checking our stream to make sure that we are still live. Go figure. I haven't broken anything again. So we're going to talk content. So let's pull up the PowerPoint presentation we're going to talk about today. And Social Media 102. Let me actually move myself back on camera. Taking a little bit of a deeper dive into social media, we're going to be talking about content. There's two different kinds of content if you're looking at a specific frequency of content. We have what we call evergreen content, and there we go, making everything fit here. One-off content. Very simple, and once we go to there, we're going to talk about the importance of putting your events on Facebook, Meta Business Suite, and queue schedulers. So it's going to be a very simple discussion. If you are interested in chatting with us live, I will be looking off to the side. We have the Facebook Live going, so feel free to leave a comment. I will get to you as soon as I see it. That's on a different screen to my right. But let's talk about content. As I mentioned, frequency, we got one-off and we got evergreen. One-off content is something that really is only going to live for one post. Something that could be very spur of the moment, something tied to a specific date. The odds of you recycling it is not going to be that much. Whereas evergreen content is content that you can repeat or you can repurpose to make it look just a little bit different. Takes its name from evergreen trees, always green, and we're going to mute the phone here. Go figure. Same person. So let's go back to the presentation. Why would you want to categorize, and this is kind of when you start the process of thinking about what you're going to do on social media, why would you want to categorize it? Well, the ways that I personally do it is because I'm actually going to use two different systems. Meta Business Suite is a scheduler that you can kind of post one off, but you can post to Facebook, you can post to Instagram. Of course, Facebook is now Meta. There's still Facebook out there. So that might get a little confusing for you all, but basically this is Facebook's newest toy to play with. Evergreen, we're going to use a queue scheduler because in essence, it keeps things a lot easier. So let's talk one-off content, anything related to a specific date. Hey, we have a sale on the 25th, or, we're closing early, or we're staying late. It's great weather outside. Come visit our golf course, or come down to the Forge. The Forge is a awesome amusement park adventure park that we have here in Lamont. As well as Facebook events. We want to make sure that you're actually kind of putting the Facebook events in so people can come to your events. We're going to talk a little bit later. If you're doing memes, this may be one-off because you want to make sure that whatever meme you're using doesn't have a sort of time reference to it. If it's a Saturday Night Live sketch and you use a meme from there and all of a sudden people forget about it in 3 weeks, you probably want to throw it in the trash. You're never going to use it again. And also, too, anything tied to news, because in essence, if you have grand openings, you're hired somebody new and you want to introduce them to your following, you want to make sure that you just have the time to actually, that you're able to use it once, and odds are you're not going to welcome a new hire after they've been working for you for 3 years. There are some times where you can actually recycle certain of these posts and they may fall more into the evergreen content. Seasonal post, if you're celebrating around St. Patrick's, is coming up, and you might use similar posts next year and the year after that. But we're going to call it one-off in this case because odds are you probably find something new and freshen it up in further years. So why should I program my Facebook events in? So I'm going to pull up Facebook here in a second. It's funny because live video and you lose the mouse. So we're logging into Facebook as we speak. I should have done that before. I apologize. But one of the reasons that you do want to log into or put your events in on Facebook, the main reason, at least in my opinion, is you want some of your followers to click that I'm interested or I'm going. And we're going to showcase this to you here hopefully soon. Go figure. We use two-factor authentication for our Facebook, so unfortunately I'm trying to approve our login. It reset on me. All right, so we're going to switch this over to our internet screen. All right, so we're going to go to a new site that we created, mylhgguide.com. For those members that are unfamiliar with mylhgguide.com, it stands for Lamont and Homer Glen. We feature all of these, whether it's events, descriptions, things of that nature, with more of a consumer focus. Typically, a chamber of commerce is business to business, but we wanted to extend the reach and extend the benefits that you get. So this is actually more geared toward the consumer, and this works great for almost most of our members. So give you a quick breeze of that, and then we're going to click on events. This is where I take our member events that I see posted on Facebook and kind of share them with the link. Now, there may be several other people doing similar things. One of our sister sites, Lamont Downtown, does a similar thing as well. It makes more sense for us to repost your event, and it's called sharing an event in Facebook Parlance, than to retype it, download the photo, make sure everything's the same. Let alone, too, we don't want to get messages about your event that we just can't answer. So we're going to go to a fun one here, Girl Scout Cookie Beer Pairing. This is a event by Tap House Grill here in Lamont. And just think about it, Girl Scout cookies and beer. So when the customer sees this, they can click on we're interested or we're going. And actually, I'll click on my personal account. We'll say, hey, I'm interested in going to this. What this does is this actually will put on my personal feed, oh, Dan is interested in going to the Girl Scout cookie and beer pairing over at Tap House Grill. A small percentage, keep in mind, is going to see this from my feed. But this is where the kind of the virality could potentially come in, where it's saying, oh, okay, Dan's interested in going, and my wife might click, oh, I'm interested in going. My friends may click on that. My family may click on that. So it's a way to kind of help spread the word about your event. The second thing, too, and this one is actually very underlooked and very important. This is actually going to be your better way to communicate with anybody that says they're interested in going. You're going to see this discussion tab. So if I say I'm interested or I'm going, and Tap House Grill posts an update, I'm going to get a little notification by the bell right here. This is actually gives you a better percentage than just by posting in general off your account. It's actually going to also make sure that, let's say, for example, I moved out of the way. I'm 3 hours away from Lamont and I haven't unclicked. Me being totally out of the way, I'm not going to get that update either. So this actually hones in on that audience, especially the ones that are interested to pass along potentially current news, especially if there's weather cancellations or depending on the event. This is a very important detail to use. So it's free advertising. It takes a few minutes to click. And then also, too, it will show up as the personal, or it will show up on the user account, their calendar. So you can see my upcoming events. I have Girl Scout beer pairing, weekly bingo. They actually have one recurring event, and I actually clicked on the other one too. You'll see some recommended events as well. This comes into play when also you're trying to expand that reach. Facebook wants you on their site, staying on their site as a resource, and say, okay, we're going to give the user, okay, Dan for this example, we're going to give him things that he may be interested in. Go figure, Saturday St. Patrick's Day celebration at the Forge, lunch and learn over at Peppo Subs, or go figure the social media event that didn't happen because I broke the internet. So it's definitely something to see. It also gives you some interest, or kind of as a business owner or the social person doing their account, how many people are responded. Nowhere near guarantee these people are going to show up. Trust me, I've seen this number huge, and you see half the people, if that, but at least kind of gives you a gauge. So we're going to go back to our internet. And there's other sites that are out there too, scouring for events, as I mentioned before. So we want to make sure that we give everybody the right chance to get all the information that we need. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, with evergreen content, you're going to be repeating things. Isn't the audience going to see the same post over and over and over and over again? One of the key to this strategy is making sure that you have a fair amount of content to sort of prevent that. Nobody's going to actually remember, or you might get called out on repeating something after 1 day, after 2 days. But 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, the odds of somebody remembering a similar post is very small. The other thing too is remember that when you post on Facebook, for example, only 1 to 8% of your audience will actually see that post. So it's a numbers game. You can easily repeat, and you may get 1 or 2 people that, that mentally see that double post. But it's very low, and the odds are that it's going to move them to make a comment or think anything is very low. Now, you don't necessarily have to literally copy and paste those posts. You can repurpose some of your content and get more life out of the same messaging. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But last but not least, remember that people have patterns. You probably have a pattern yourself as well, where you're going to check Facebook. You might be sitting at the couch at 9 o'clock at night. One of the busiest times in terms of reach in social media is when people are at home, they're sitting watching TV, they're just kind of killing time till the rest of the night till everybody goes to bed. And you'll see that too when you go into your Facebook insights, things of that nature. That is typically, now keep in mind, or that is typically when more people are on social media. Also keep in mind that there's more people just like you and me trying to get posts in front of those people as well. So you do also have a little bit of more of a crowded marketplace here. So examples of evergreen content. And we're going to switch the screen here in just a second to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to move myself out of the way for those watching on the live stream. So some examples of evergreen content. This is from Schulman Zale Legal Group, who took a kind of a quote from their customer and repurposed it. For those listening on the podcast, our clients' satisfaction is always our number one priority. If you're looking at buying or selling real estate, we are one of the best in the area, as you can see from this review. Give us a call at this number or reach out to us at info@sclegalgroup.com. And basically, they kind of, in their own style, made a graphic that has the 5 stars. It has the full quote, their logo. So how can you repurpose this to kind of make sure that Rick's review is, not just being copy pasted? Well, you could also type out the actual review and the content and maybe change up the graphic a little bit where it's just the 5 stars and a logo or another 5-star review. Many different ways where you can do that as well. If you've established that unbelievable relationship with that customer, maybe they'll actually sit down and interview or take a few seconds to film something on their phone giving that review. They can always send it to you, and you can use that for actual true social proof. And even if another thing too, and we are very big on pushing people back to your website. And if you have a blog, and if you don't, I suggest that possibly you do start a blog, is maybe you get Rick to tell more of the story. And, Scott, who's the person that was got the 5-star review, can kind of add to the story and create content and create a recap of an experience that people can immediately connect to. That is going to be the way that you get your customer. If it's just an advertisement, people are used to being advertised to. Those on the live stream right now are probably loving this picture of the Nick Burger. This is from Nick's Tavern. This is a 1-pound behemoth that I've taken down once or twice, nowhere near in my prime where I used to be, but it gets a lot of different awards for being the best burger in Lamont. So for those listening on the podcast, we have a picture of the Nick Burger. Basically, 2/3 of it is the burger. So ways that you can actually repurpose some of this content, is by having different types of photos or videos. Remember too, most of us have, this magic tool. I'm holding up my phone at the moment, in their pocket that does really good video and photography. So it makes sense to actually use it to your ability. Creating that visual for that person, for people scrolling, especially food. Food can get people to stop and just, drool for a second and say, oh, I want to go there for dinner. So pictures of food, if it's appropriate for your company, is a great way to get people to stop. So restaurants, bars, you can make some great mixed drinks. Use that to your advantage, by the way. And the other thing too, don't forget about storytelling. You have this picture of this tasty hamburger. Let's talk about how it's made with fresh beef, and Nick's has a long history, and this recipe has been there, been part of Nick's history for a very long time. You can also ask questions. Hey, we love, this Nick Burger is ordered by lots of people. We're just curious, what's your favorite topping? Getting some people being social, hopefully responding. And one of my favorites, I came across this when I was programming, be like Bob. So for behalf of the audio podcast, I'll read the post. Bob likes the Nick Burger. Be like Bob. Come on in and enjoy never fresh frozen 1-pound Nick Burger only at Nick's Tavern in Lamont. This is our 77th year. So this is one of the customers. I'm guessing this is probably a repeat loyal customer to Nick's Tavern. Aren't we all? So personalizing the story of somebody coming in. He's turned from guest and now he's a burger influencer. Let's talk more about education. And we're not thinking higher learning, college, or anything of that nature. Part of being a salesperson and part of marketing your product is educating the public of who you are and what you do. The text that we have, or the post that we have here, is from the Jonathan Darren team, talking about the benefits of using a local real estate agent. Talking about knowledge of the local market, having the network of professionals to connect you with, whether you're looking for a mortgage broker, a real estate attorney, things of that nature, as well as experience with negotiating and marketing tactics in the area. So some ways to repurpose this to use it in multiple occasions. You can actually write a page and a half about all these bullet points, all in one. Don't go too crazy. But expand on those bullet points to make it further sink home. You got to sell to people to get them to click on your post, but if you can get them that far, you might be able to close the deal on getting them to call you. If you're into social advertising, you might be able to rephrase this to actually specific neighborhoods and use as paid dark posts. This is a tactic where you can actually hide the post, but yet have it show up in multiple different spots and use specific targeting. Google dark posts for more information on that. In the essence too, Video is always key. You're going to see me saying things a lot, especially if you're going to repurpose it. If the demand is there for you to create something like TikTok. And don't forget, you can always make jokes. We got Spira Farms, and the picture on the screen is, I am assuming, of basil, because the joke is, what did the basil say to the chef? Stop pestoing me. Not too many ways that you can repurpose jokes, but remember, just give it time before you repeat it. THYME. Time. Nobody's going to get that. So social likes variety, but remember to do what you can to, try and provide as much information as possible, many different types of content. But remember, you're a small business owner and you may not be able to do video, photo, blogging, all that, and still do your business. So you remember, you can look for different tools out there. You may have a bunch of photos and use, whether it's Facebook or some of these other platforms, to create a slideshow, which technically is a video. You're always, too, make sure you're looking at your testing, seeing how many people are viewing something, and remember that you can actually, see what resonates with your audience. If you're getting a couple high tests that are showing great organic reach, you may be onto something, but remember, don't overkill it. There's actually a small resurgence right now of just plain text posts. Don't forget to use that either, because we're all used to pictures and movies and things of that nature. You can kind of throw up that change up just to kind of see how does your audience react to that. And remember too, if you have multiple demographics, you may need to do some of these other options just to see what resonates. So we're going to talk a little bit now about Meta Business Suite. Meta Business Suite, it was many years of ownership of Facebook owning Instagram. They've finally given us a platform where we can post to Facebook and Instagram without, crazy backroom hacks of third-party software sending you a text that you can copy-paste into Instagram, because Instagram you can only use with your phone, and it's actually a little bit much nicer now. And this is what I use for one-off content. You're going to see why here in a second, because you can actually kind of specifically target. You can also, you can do posts, you can do your stories as well. When you set this up, though, make sure that you have an Instagram business account. That way you can actually have them both talk to each other. So we're going to switch over to the screen right now. And we're going to do our best to describe this for our folks listening on the podcast. But right now we are pulling up the Heritage Corridor Business Alliance Facebook page. And this is going to, I'll show you where the link is to Meta Business Suite. So over top left corner is going to be under a manage page. So definitely check that out. What we're going to do is we're going to go click on Meta Business Suite. And then we're on the left, we're going to click on our planner. We'll do more videos later about alerts, settings, managing comments, things of that nature. We're just going to focus a bit on programming now. For those that can see us at home or see us on the video, you can see there's been several different posts, and it kind of gives you a picture, thumbnail, and a time of when things were posted in the past. We're on a week view, WEEK, and then gives you an idea. You can kind of get the quick, okay, what's gotten thumbs, what's gotten comments, things like that. In the middle, you're going to see, sometimes you're going to see, I'm looking for the Facebook one. Apparently, we've already passed our time. What's showing up Wednesday at 10 a.m. for me is saying that, okay, this week at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays, my Instagram following has been the most active. This is going to be different for everybody, so please keep that with a kind of a grain of salt. Gives you a button to schedule, and we'll talk about that here in a second. A little bit higher on the screen, you're going to see everything from daylight savings, Pi Day, St. Patrick's Day, Holly. So that's giving you prompts to think of different, unique one-off posts. We talked about that before. Also on the right-hand side, you're going to see what's called moments. This is always key because, there's some things where you have writer's block and you don't know what to write about. So this actually does give you some prompts. Thursday the 17th is St. Patrick's Day. March 18th is Holly. TGIF, different things like that. So, by the way, thanks to Scott and Jeff C that you guys have tuned in. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for everybody who's also joined in to our webinar here. As we scroll down, April Fool's Day, World Health Day, you know that you do see a lot of, today is National Margarita Day, so celebrate by coming to our restaurant. Or Facebook has simplified the process so that way, many types of days are listed. Now, if you've ever searched National Day of the Week or whatever type of calendars, you will see there's a day for everything, and usually one day is about 97 different things. Not the best sentence to ever say, but you know where I'm going with that, folks. So use this for what it is. So right now, I'm just going to go ahead and click this week your Instagram followers. Or that you can see schedule a post, schedule a story, or schedule an ad. Facebook likes it when you spend money, so they're always going to talk about ads. What popped up here, and this is only if you click on that specific prompt. You're going to see optimal times to post. And for me, apparently, Wednesdays at 10, Thursdays at 7 p.m., or the 22nd, go figure it's next week. You're going to see that nature. I'm going to X out of that, and I'm just going to show you guys that you have the option to click both. You can program to both Facebook and Instagram. Now, depending who you talk to, people will say you typically want to do different posts, different times, different content to your different markets, just because you're talking to different demographics. Now, if you are a small business owner, you may just not have the time to do that, so don't feel bad about it. So we're just going to do a dummy test. This is a post, and we're going to add a photo. We're going to show, in this case, this is one of our examples of our Lockport Legends Cruise Night. This is an early mock-up of a logo. So you'll see this is a post on the text. It's going to show you in the middle buttons for Facebook and Instagram. You are actually able to tailor this post to fit your audience. You may be somebody who does not like to use hashtags in Facebook. If you're tagging somebody, they may have different usernames or user handles in Facebook and Instagram. You may want to put a full link in Facebook, and in Instagram you realize you can't do it. You might just want to link to your homepage. A lot of different things that you could do. So this does give you the flexibility. This does give you the flexibility as well to manage 2 social media accounts at one time. So this is one of the reasons where I say if you don't have a lot of time, Facebook is the way to go, because you can also do Instagram at the same time. And you can see some of the different options. Add a button to raise money for your favorite nonprofit. Turn into a video. This is going to be also too where you can do different things with multiple photos. Instagram, and you're going to see examples of that. Near the bottom of the screen, it'll actually tell you that you can schedule for a specific time. You can also boost, because Facebook likes their money and they want to take it from you. And then you can also schedule your post. You can publish it now if you really want to, or you can save it as a draft. So using all these together, I think it's a great way to, if you know it's coming for a week and a half, you can kind of get those one-off posts to at least give you some live content. We're going to talk a little bit now about queue schedulers. Queue schedulers is where you're going to use that evergreen content, which even gives you an advantage of you're a business owner, but you're taking a vacation and you don't want to touch your social in terms of posting. You can pre-schedule, you can actually kind of either way in this case do that. But perfect example is the Heritage Quarter Business Alliance. We have 270, 80 members at the moment. I can't spend the time to manually put in one post per member at a year's clip. So this is where we're going to show you some of a site that I personally like to use. It's called smarterque.com. And if you're listening online, it's smarter, Q-U-E-U-E, as in kind of a Q, like a line. And this is how this is, this website is based on. We're logging in as we speak here. So what you're going to see on my screen is we have several different types of posts ready to go. And I'm managing about 9 accounts through this software. Depending on how much you pay, gives you a certain amount of accounts. So we can kind of check that out later. But I'm going to give you the gist of this program. There's another one too out there called Meet Edgar. I used to use that with a previous job, and it's a very good platform as well. I like SmarterQ a little bit better. And I'm going to give you a link at the end of this podcast where you can actually get a little bit more of an extended trial. And if you do sign up, it does help out the HCB in a way as well. They'll actually kick a few bucks back to us as a thank you. So full disclosure. So you can see on my left-hand side, I have several different categories of different posts. For example, job postings, event postings, categories. That's where I actually post about all the gyms at once, all the dentists at once, things like that. Our members are kind of our individual members, things of that nature. So we're creating buckets. Now, let's just say, for example, you are a restaurant, and that's going to be the easiest thing for me to use as an example. You may have a bucket of just food items, food photos. You may have a bucket of drinks. And your one-off categories could be events or, crowd shots. Come on down and visit us. We're having a great time tonight. We have a band coming at this time. You can use all these in combination to further your social media reach, and at the same time, almost get you away from the screen, the computer, and just make sure you're out there managing your business. So when you combine that, the categories, in this case, they call the schedule a posting program. You can see on my screen at the moment, there are many different icons and colors and things like that. This icon tells me, or the icon tells me what account it is. There's a small logo, and then there's a color code, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. You can kind of barely see the F for the little Instagram. You can use Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest with this program. I do not. That may be something we approach in the future. So Mondays at 9 a.m., I have an events bucket. 9:30 a.m. And then the icon for my LSG Instagram account. Every Monday at 9:30, it's going to pull the first post from the bucket or category and put that out on Instagram. The next time that comes up, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Tuesday at 11 a.m., it's going to take the next one in line and post it. This software, too, gives you the opportunity to recycle. So that way, if you want to post about an event multiple times and you don't want to do it in a row, in essence, Monday 9:30, it takes that event, it posts it, and then it puts it in the back of the line. Using that kind of strategy, just remember to have many things in your bucket. Otherwise, you're going to be posting about the same thing over and over again. So there's a little bit of a caveat. You can pause. You can also limit the number of times that something comes into your bucket. You can say, I only want this post to ever show up once, or I only want it to show up twice. Or you can set a specific date. I don't want this post to ever show past St. Patrick's Day. Or the combination of the two. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. Then, what is it? Then, too, you have a button that says Q. Q-U-E-U-E. This is going to show, based on your schedule or your posting plan, what the next posts are. Now, you can actually kind of sort in between these posts as well, a little bit with your schedule to further refine what you're wanting to do. This is also a double check to make sure that, you don't want to be posting 14 same posts over and over again. So there are a few different paths to that. let's go. I'm actually going to go to, I'm going to log out. I'm going to go to the main screen just to kind of show you pricing and things of that nature. Logging out. So a lot of the marketing behind this is about time savings. And you can see on the website that we have right now, smarterque.com, it says it saves 8 hours a week, and you're boosting your traffic, your leads, and your revenue. This is also another thing too, whether you're using one of these software, people need to take a time off and vacation. So this actually kind of gives you a little bit of a way to still get content while somebody may not be available. So say goodbye to manual scheduling, boost reach and engagement, never run out of content, and it's going to give you some great stats as well. The other thing too is Facebook messages and Twitter all come into an inbox here. With your Meta Business Suite, Facebook and Instagram have the same inbox too. So you can find, or you can use a combination of both, or figure out what the best way to do that is. You're going to see a lot of different things. There are also integrations with Canva. A lot of you may use Canva to do graphics and things like that. Direct publishing is very important when you're looking at things like that as well, just because, as I alluded to earlier, even a year ago, many of these third-party software would have to kind of shoot a text message to your cell phone, and then you'd have to take that app, copy paste it over to Instagram. A little bit of a pain. But you're also going to see too, you're going to see reports. You're going to be able to kind of look at some of your competitors' profiles to see how they're doing. And the other thing too that this software does, every Monday it sends me a report of how we did last week, engagement, reach, followers. So that way you can kind of see an up and down trend. Lots of great stuff, and I definitely check this out. We're going to include a link in the show notes as well. So if this is something you're interested in, please check it out. I mean, in full disclosure, if you do sign up through our link, we will get a little bit of revenue back, so it is appreciated, and you do help out the HCBA as well. You're wondering, how much does this software cost? And I'm pulling up the pricing page as we speak. So you're going to see a lot of different versions, and we are, we are actually under the business, and this kind of the highlight of the best value. We have several different profiles that we manage, so we needed that 10 social profile limit. There are different things of lists per day, how many posts you can do, and things of that nature. This is to prevent you from being a mass spammer. And for 99.99999% of you, it's not going to affect. But do take a look at solo. You can kind of look at the custom option as well. Figure out what works best for you. And I would definitely suggest it. Now, another one that I do want to bring up, and this is one I used to use. I like SmarterQ just a hair bit better, but I want to give you options to look in as well. It's called meetedgar.com. It sounds like a dating site. It is not actually a dating site. This is a scheduler with many of the same properties as before. One of the reasons that I liked this better, and please keep in mind, they may have added it by this time, and I don't have a login anymore, so I don't know, is I was always creating separate Instagram posts and Instagram categories and separate Facebook and Facebook categories just because of the tagging feature. Obviously you can't, I don't know the percentage, but there's only a certain amount of people that have the same business, Instagram and Facebook. So one generic tag may not link them both. So it's something to check out. You can kind of see that Instagram stories is on here. I am not sure if they do pages, but if this is something interested, definitely check it out. I know I actually did a video testimonial for them probably 3 years ago. So I do like this product. And you're going to see it's very similar to that. An interesting thing, I do like, they do a little bit better on the A/B testing. Well, that means if you want to try one post, but maybe have two different photos, you can play around a little bit with that, and it kind of tells you what does better than the other. Now we're going to pull up the pricing. And you can see too, there's a light version and a heavier version. So go ahead, compare these two together, and figure out what works best for you. There are many more out there, and I do suggest you to do your research. It's similar to wearing a pair of shoes. I may prefer Nike, but you may prefer Reebok. Think of it that nature. So I want you to do your research, check it out. So that's going to bring it back to me. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Let me give you my email address, so that way if you have any questions or anything, I am more than willing to answer anybody. And it's below on the screen, dan@myhcba.com. And remember too, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the audio podcast, make sure you subscribe as well. Check out the show notes. We're going to have some links in there for you. And you can always access these too on myhcba.com/webinars. We're always going to be posting all of our different webinars from the past. And we're off once I have it settled, we have a few people that we're scheduling into some slots. We're going to update what's coming up. We have a great one next week, and I'm going to make you go to the website to see what that's going to be. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dan from the HCBA, Heritage Corridor Business Alliance, the Lamont and Homer Glen Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and thank you for tuning in to the Power Hour.